All right, y'all. We back with another video. Today we got Wendy Williams, man. So look, I saw this video on TikTok, right, from this guy, and he was talking about Wendy Williams not having dementia anymore, right? And it immediately made me think about the back and forth between Tasha K, Nicki Minaj. She was talking about Wendy Williams and Nicki Minaj, and she was going in with Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, and talking about conservatorships. Now, I didn't even know what that was. I feel like, unless you up in the millions, this ain't gonna happen to you anyway. So supposedly this is a court-ordered arrangement where a judge appoints a person, the conservator, to manage the financial affairs and or personal care of an individual who's unable to do so themselves, right? So Wendy Williams is under a court-ordered guardianship, and she's been under it for more than 3 years. But now her top neurologist in NYC has come out and said that she does not have frontotemporal dementia, right? She completed a battery of tests in NYC, and the neurologist provided her legal team with the results in late October. The findings conflict with an earlier test when, according to Wendy's guardian, she tested positive for the condition. Now, I got to remember, back in like 2019 and 2020, it said Wendy Williams was worth upward of $40 million, which was, obviously mostly from her show, right? Now it's saying she's not even worth 10 million anymore. So her money has been ate up, completely ate up. Now, you got the whole thing with her son spending 100K on DoorDash, like another 100 to 500K on something else. I can't even remember, right? But so there's a lot of stuff going on with this, and it goes back to Nicki Minaj, goes back to Britney Spears, and I was just getting into the rabbit hole because some of this stuff I really wasn't aware of, but I like how Tasha K was breaking it down toward Nicki Minaj and why they were trying to get rid of her husband, which serves as, the way she was saying it, like, which serves as how Gucci and his wife was. Remember when Gucci wife was like, what they call it again? Power of attorney. And so I'm gonna let y'all hear. I'm gonna let y'all hear before I really get to explaining. But so it says we're told Wendy's legal team will file legal docs with the court in the next 2 weeks, paving the way for a hearing. Well, they will ask the judge to terminate the guardianship. If the judge digs in and refuses to end the guardianship, Powerhouse lawyer Joe Tocopina will then demand a jury trial and ask jurors to free Wendy. So the way they putting this sound like Wendy it damn near sound like they got her locked up. Can't use her money, can't do certain things. And this crazy. Check this out. This was the clip where I heard it first from, but I got these other clips with Tasha K that goes into it a little bit more. Check this out.
Because my question is, now that we know that Wendy Williams don't got dementia, who going to jail? Huh? Because my question is, now that we know that Wendy Williams don't got dementia, who going to jail? I need everybody involved, front and center. So they found out they gave Wendy Williams a test, and I'm guessing that it's through the state, okay? Don't get me wrong. It might have been like somebody her lawyer worked with, but apparently they found out that she never had dementia because dementia never gets better. Huh? Unless this is the first case scenario, which we know it's not. Now, her lawyer is basically going to push papers to find out how to get her out of this like guardianship program. My thing is, how many other people that we don't know about actually is going through stuff like this? Okay? We know Wendy Williams has been calling out for help this entire time and was actually said before that she doesn't have dementia, but somehow, some way, the guardianship had the test ran with somebody who apparently she knows, allegedly, and they said, oh no, she do got it. Now that we found out Wendy Williams don't, my thing is, who going to jail? Because y'all spending her money. Yeah, we want all the records right now, okay? Now, Wendy Williams' lawyer is working towards trying to get her out this situation and get her back on track and actually get her help with whatever it is that she has, okay? I don't know what it is, and I don't want to go into details yet. Hopefully, prayers.
Now, check this out, though. Look, I'm about to type in Wendy Williams' peak net worth. Now, it says her net worth was estimated to be around 40 million, primarily from her talk show. As of early 2025, her current estimated net worth is only 5 million, a significant drop largely due to her health issues and court-ordered financial guardianship. Holy shit. So these health issues now don't exist. Somebody said her son said they were lying about his mama. Then somebody said, yeah, while he was spending her money on DoorDash. But look, somebody said, I knew my girl was not losing her mind. Somebody said this is what Britney Spears went through, but we already knew nothing was wrong with Wendy Williams. Somebody said the judge is in on it. Somebody said they Britney'd her, but my auntie ain't going down like this. Somebody said the pink lady, she's right once again. Now, they're talking about Nicki Minaj. Wendy said they was doing something to her and kept her from using the phone and not having visitors. This is a real life horror story. Nah, this kinda is. Cause this is crazy. Somebody says she needed her show back too. This is crazy. Because man, she went from worth 40, so they just swallowed up her money. Swallowed up her money. And y'all remember Wendy Williams been kind of talking. Y'all remember she was talking about Diddy and Jay-Z on the show. And if I'm not mistaken, y'all remember I think was it Jay-Z or P. Diddy that got her fired like back in the 90s when she was working for her first radio show? She was talking. She was talking basically, right? So a lot of folks are relating it to Britney Spears. This industry is wicked that they have so many ways to get that money back. Not even get it back. I mean, she had her own show. Well, I guess you could say get it back. But they have so many ways that they would make it seem like you got dementia, you crazy, you this and that, put you under a court-ordered guardianship where you can't do a damn thing. Nothing. Check this out.
A South Florida woman is taking legal action after she says she spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason.
I have been falsely imprisoned through the misuse of the Baker Act, the Marchman Act, and a petition for a guardianship. And then my husband was falsely imprisoned 3 times.
So legally, I can go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker active.
Nicki Minaj is personally so invested in what's happening to you, putting out the hashtag justice for Dem.
And according to Demore, it's her own mother who's behind it.
So she's the CEO of Rock Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z. Sean Carter, investigate your team, investigate your management team. When does accountability come in for these people, right?
Why is she so determined, allegedly, to have you not only be quiet, but to be put into a psychiatric ward? Like, what's going on?
So this was a video that Nicki Minaj posted, and basically showing you how Desiree Perez had her own daughter, Britney'd, as they're saying, the same way, in a sense that this happened to Wendy Williams. Now, obviously, from her daughter, they're not trying to get her money. They're trying to keep her mouth shut for some reason. But check this out. We got a little bit more. This gets more interesting.
This is not something that is like a conspiracy theory. This actually happens. But if they're able to separate Nicki and Kenny, that makes Nicki vulnerable because your husband is your power of attorney. Your husband is your signator on all of your accounts in the event anything goes wrong. Michael wasn't married. Britney Spears was married, but of course they control all of that. And so the mere fact that all these narratives are out about Kenny stealing this to buy chains and buy that, that's not what it is. It's like, they got doctors that are giving out these diagnoses saying that she's schizophrenic and bipolar and all of this stuff. And then Kenny's now here. She trusts Kenny. Of course, they've known each other since they were kids. Their families know each other. And so Kenny is just in the way. And so what do? You create narratives to try to separate, because if you separate, then you can divide and conquer. And so that's what it's about. She's going into her latter years, and, there's a lot of money on the line, and she's worth a lot, but Kenny is in the way. And so, um, yeah, I mean, look at what they're doing to Wendy Williams. Had Wendy would have still been with Kelvin, they wouldn't have been able to put her under a conservatorship because she has a husband. So, and like I said, there was only one that was accused of stealing. We're gonna leave it at that. Okay. Y'all gotta think, like, when Nicki wasn't married and there was opportunity to get, when you think about doctors, and that's another thing that we're gonna be unwinding here in the days to come, or maybe even weeks to come. So just stay tuned for all of this. But like, I asked a question, I think it was last night, and I was like, hey, what do all these people have in common, Michael Jackson and all of them? And they have doctors, and these doctors, diagnose them with certain things. Kanye West. I mean, it's even happening to Desiree Perez's daughter, Demery, how she had certain doctors pinned aside to try to 5150 her daughter and put her into a conservatorship, according to her daughter. And so this is not something that is like a conspiracy theory.
And I think that clip goes into what we were just listening to, but this is wicked, y'all. They are literally using doctors, using certain judges who they know will pass, these diagnoses. It literally reminds me of the same thing with Gucci and his wife. The same thing. It's a way for the industry to be able to control your money, have someone there who can control it, i.e., Gucci's wife. But what they're saying is, if they have a husband, we're talking about the women, Nicki Minaj, Wendy Williams, Britney Spears. If they had a husband, if they were not able to break them away from their husband, they would not be able to put them in this kind of conservatorship because the husband would act as the power of attorney and they will not sign it. The husband will have control over what is going on, unless you can get the husband to be like Gucci's wife, who is clearly his handler. So I want to type in Nicki Minaj net worth, right? So, Nicki is worth $150 million, bro. Decades of hits, savvy investments, and her growing empire. Nicki is worth 150. Now, it says that it even reached upward of 190. Bunch of different numbers, but clearly she's worth almost $200 million. And she's talking the way that she's talking against Jay-Z, Roc Nation, Desiree Perez. She's showing that they're trying to diagnose her being schizophrenic. She's showing that they are willing to do anything to get control of her money. Y'all, this is a very interesting topic. I don't think I've ever talked about it in this form. And I knew something else was gonna come of this situation, because y'all remember we was just covering some of the stuff with Nicki, but we didn't get into this side. And Wendy Williams just kind of sparked this whole conversation back open with now her not being diagnosed as having dementia. So if that's the case, what does she have? They just took all her money. Basically took everything. And Tasha K tweeted this: y'all gonna stop twisting my damn words. Nicki Minaj ain't got no damn schizophrenia. Let's be real. Most of us got a little bipolar and crazy in us, and that's facts. They tried to 5150 Kanye for being bipolar. It's a mood disorder. Then turned around and attempted to seize his assets just because he was talking his shit. Exactly. Remember, Kanye went from supposedly being a billionaire worth one point something billion to that being chopped in half. Supposedly. Now it says, meanwhile, Wendy Williams is sitting in a luxury hospital suite while her lawyers spend her money. 40 million to 5 million net worth is crazy. Just in the span that she's been under a guardianship. Michael Jackson's gone, and Britney Spears had to flee the US to Mexico just to feel free after years under that conservatorship. What part don't y'all understand? This is a industry takedown meant to make her look incapable of managing her own money. And let's be clear, Kenny the husband is in the way. All this started after she tweeted about that damn you know what. Damn, y'all. Holy. So we're seeing this from what? 4 different angles. Desiree Perez's daughter, Gucci and his wife. Remember, they just said he's been diagnosed with being schizo and bipolar. Nicki Minaj and her husband are trying to get rid of the husband so they can fully just throw Nicki Minaj under a conservatorship. Boom, take all her money. Now she ain't worth nothing. You ain't got no power. You ain't got nothing. Britney Spears, she's already went through it, and now she's what we see on the internet today. Wendy Williams, this is wicked, y'all. This is another, and obviously they talked about Michael Jackson as well. Y'all know that whole story with the doctor and everything. But this really goes to show you the power that they have to get that money back. It's like, all right, we allowed Nicki to make 200 million. You start talking, you start saying too much, doing this and that, and now we finna snatch that money right back from up under you, or at least we're gonna try. Maybe Nicki Minaj knew all of this. Maybe she was smart enough to marry the guy Kenny, knowing what his past was about. We all know, what was involved or what he was involved in with his past. Somebody even said it here. Somebody said Kenny is her protector, but y'all too busy pushing the negative of his past life. So, now they said really that man literally raped a girl at knife point and he took the life of another man. Somebody said Kenny is there for money. Now that whole situation, I don't know. Maybe Nicki Minaj is just married to him because maybe she knows this stuff. Maybe Tasha K, they be having conversations. Obviously Nicki Minaj not dumb. So maybe she got a husband so they can't do this to her. Who knows? Who really knows? This whole thing with Wendy Williams has completely sparked this conversation. And yeah, Wendy Williams is 61 years old. And if she doesn't have dementia or anything like that, hey, she can get back to her life. If that's what ends up happening. But yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. Very, very interesting topic, y'all. With that being said, man, it's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon. All right, I'm out.